to do a video of how to set up this booth, and the video will make it a lot easier than any kind of descriptions that I can put on print. Right up on top, right there, and right there, on each one of these walls is the lifting lugs that you will, we also include clevises and a strap to lift these things up. This wall is from right there in the center to here is all one piece, already screwed together. All you have to do is lift it up off the pallet. They'll be shipped in on a pallet standing up. So you'll have two walls, this wall and that wall. And these are the right walls. The other side are the left walls. And the back is the back. So everything is always referred to as right and left from the front. From the front, there's the top, there's the back door. This is the right side, and that is the left side. Okay, on the inside of the wall, right there is a little sign that says right front wall. That one back here says right back wall. That one says left back wall. That one says left front wall. This back wall back here and the door is all in one wall. So that comes together. When you stand it up, the door's already in it. And then you will have this here, and it says back wall left side. In the corners, you have bolt, 3 of them. Okay? The bolt is fastened on to the tube on the sidewalls. Then it will come through the holes of the tube that's on this wall, and then they will slide together. So you'll have to slide them on. They're welded, the heads are welded on the other side, and that way that the heads won't turn while you're putting the nuts on. So it's very important to slide them on in order, because that way that everything goes together. Don't tighten them up until you get everything together. Okay, the door has been installed completely. It will come with the cylinder. It will probably, I'm not for sure if we're going to crate it up with the cylinder on it or cylinder off of it. I'm not for sure. You'll just have to see when we get there. Now, here's an important thing. Right down here at the bottom is a small channel. It's screwed in on the corners. It'll come screwed in. There's 2 holes. A hole there and a hole there. This will be strictly up to you if you want to drill into your concrete and put a bolt in there. A real easy way of doing this is if you drill a 1/4 inch hole into the concrete, you can take a grade 5 bolt and a 5/16 grade 5 bolt, and you can just hammer it down into place. You don't have to put any kind of device inside there, and that really holds good, and it can be removed too. Okay, this is the wall that you got the door here, and this is the wall that's in between the door and the left back piece, and there's 4 bolts in here. So you'll have to slide this wall into that before you can put your corners on. So those heads are welded also, and that way that the bolt will not turn, and that way that that won't cause you a griefing problem. Okay, now the header is above, completely above the ceiling, and that way that the machine, the exhaust of the machine will come out. Now the header, there is a post that comes out of the bottom of the header, and it will slide into the top of these posts, and then you'll tighten up these 2 bolts, and that's what 2 bolts on each side, and that's what will fasten your header in place. And that will be the front end. So as you stand up the walls and you get the back installed, the back walls installed, bolted in the corners, then you can put the header on here in the front. Okay, now after you get the walls all up, you get the header up, then we have these bars. Now these bars are not painted yet because they're going through our paint booth. All the walls and everything were painted here in place. The header all gets painted. So when you get this bar says top bar number 1. That's right behind the header. These bolts line up. Do not tighten these nuts up on these bolts until you get the ceiling all screwed on, because we've already screwed the ceiling on, and if you tighten these bolts up, you may have very difficult time trying to realign those screw holes. Okay, that's top bar number 2, top bar number 3, 4, and on down the line to 10. There's them lifting lugs that you'll lift these walls up with. There's your better view of it right there. This is the top of the exhaust hole. This is where your exhaust air comes out at. So you actually have 2 bolts here, 2 bolts on the other end. Those are all in one piece. Okay, so again, don't tighten these nuts down. You want to leave them a little bit loose, like a 1/4 inch. That way that them can move around. You've got a hole over there, and you've got 2 holes in the back for the exhaust on these tables. Now, after you get the walls stood up and you get the tubes across the ceiling, you won't have your ceiling panels in here yet. Your ceiling panels are all labeled on the back with a felt tip marker. You'll start on the right side in the back. That's where we started at. And then you'll put on the right side. You'll keep on going all the way across. And then you'll come up to the front and you'll start on the right side. You'll go across. And they will be labeled how you can understand what it means. Now we used these T-posts, and those T-posts will really help you in setting them things up. It will really help you a lot holding those pieces up. Okay, now before you put up the metal, you will have J-trim. You'll have a piece of J-trim all the way around on the sides. On each side, you'll have a J-trim. You have a special made trim on this back. It's kind of a piece of an angle iron. It looks like it's a bent angle, but it will also say J-trim, but it will be described to be on the back. You will put that on before you put up the metal. The J-trim that is in the holes will be put up after the metal has been put on, because you'll never be able to get it on if you put that on first. So the J-trim in the holes go up after the metal is on, and they're listed as far as left back hole, that is back side, front side, right side, left side, and that way that your screw holes will realign back up. Now I'm standing in the back looking towards the front, and now this is the seam that you have that comes across where these things are spliced together at. It's a very short seam. The overlap is very little. And after that's done, you can insert some extra screws into the seam to pull the seam up a little bit tighter. Even though there's a screw in the metal there and there, you can pull that up just a little bit tighter by putting some what they call stitch screws, just the screws in the seam. They just screw the two pieces together. When you set the exhaust of the machines in here, at the top of the exhaust, there is a slide. At the exhaust inside on these machines, you have a slide that is over the outside of the exhaust. And what you will do is you will set the machine inside the booth, and you will raise that exhaust up to where it comes to about a ½ inch under the J-trim on that exhaust hole. That way that you can move your machine around. Then there will be a screw hole on each side that you put one screw into, and that will hold that in place from here on out. Okay, now once you install your lights in here, you need to kind of think about how you're wanting to install your lights, because your exhaust hole is here and straight down there and over there in the corner. So think about your planning your lights. You might want to put your lights on this side of your exhaust holes. Don't put them in the way that you can pull that machine in and out, or you'll be in trouble with getting your machine around it. So be sure and plan your lights properly with your exhaust moving in and out. Same way with any kind of conduit that holds your lights in place. Make sure that they're not in the way. You'll have very, very low clearance. You only got like a ½ inch clearance between the ceiling and the exhaust, so you don't have any room to mess around with there. It is in two pieces. It's spliced together right there. This is the left side, that'll be your right side, and you'll just bolt it together right there in the middle, and then take a forklift and set it up into place, and then your ends will go down inside the tubes, and that way that you will be able to set them in, lock them in with those two bolts. All right, now this is the back wall with the door installed. Comes in two pieces, so it will assemble quite quickly and quite easily.